Here's the truth. Prosperous people don't just have more money, they think, speak, and move completely differently. And until you shift how you show up, nothing outside will change. Let me show you why. Most people associate prosperity with material wealth, cars, homes, luxury, bank balances. But real prosperity begins long before any of those things show up. It's not defined by what you own. It's defined by how you think, how you feel, and how you move through life on a daily basis. Prosperity is a presence. It's an inner richness, a calm sense of certainty that you are growing, expanding, and aligned with something greater than your current results. A truly prosperous person can have very little in the bank and still radiate abundance because they know that who they are is more powerful than what they have right now. This kind of prosperity isn't loud or flashy, it's quiet confidence. It shows up in the way you speak about your life, the way you handle challenges, and the energy you carry into every room you enter. You'll notice that people who are truly prosperous don't need to prove anything. They aren't chasing validation. They're simply rooted in a mindset that says, I trust the process. I know I'm on the path. If you want to attract abundance, don't just focus on the outcome. Focus on becoming the kind of person who already lives with abundance on the inside. That's the real foundation. That's when prosperity becomes who you are, not just something you're trying to get. One of the key differences between someone operating from prosperity and someone stuck in lack is how they think about success. The prosperous person doesn't view life as a competition. They don't believe that someone else's gain means their loss. Instead, they focus on creating, on bringing new value into the world, not on fighting over what already exists. When you think competitively, you shrink. You start comparing, doubting, and reacting. But when you think creatively, you expand. You see possibilities. You build instead of battle. The prosperous person knows there's more than enough to go around, because they understand that abundance is unlimited for those who tap into it with the right mindset. Creative thinking says, I can grow, I can contribute, I can offer something unique. It doesn't fear someone else's success, it celebrates it as proof of what's possible. That shift from competing to creating is massive. It changes how you show up in relationships, business, and every area of your life. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop worrying about the market and start building your own. When your thoughts are rooted in creativity instead of comparison, prosperity begins to move toward you effortlessly. True prosperity doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't rush, it moves with purpose. At the heart of the prosperous person is a quiet, uncheckable confidence. It's not arrogance. It's not about proving anything. It's a calm certainty that everything is unfolding as it should. This kind of presence comes from within. It's built on trust in yourself, in your vision, and in the unseen forces working in your favor. Prosperous people don't panic when things shift. They don't overreact to setbacks. They breathe, reassess, and take the next step with intention. You can feel it in how they speak, slow, clear, and deliberate. You can see it in how they carry themselves, grounded, unhurried, and centered. They radiate a frequency that others naturally respect and want to align with. This inner calm isn't something you fake, it's something you cultivate. It grows when you stop seeking external validation and start anchoring yourself in purpose. The more you embody this peaceful confidence, the more magnetic you become. People trust you, opportunities flow to you. Not because you chase them, but because you became a steady force in a noisy world. Prosperity isn't noise, it's resonance. And the calmest people often carry the strongest current. One of the most powerful traits of genuinely prosperous people is their desire to lift others. They're not threatened by someone else's success, they encourage it. They know that abundance multiplies when it's shared, not hoarded. A prosperous person doesn't operate from the fear of losing their position. Instead, they actively support, mentor, and celebrate those around them. Why? Because they understand a universal truth. Helping others rise never lowers your own altitude. It strengthens your foundation and expands your reach. You'll notice they're generous not just with money, but with ideas, time, and encouragement. They speak words that inspire, not tear down. They see potential where others see problems. And they're not afraid to open doors for someone else because they know more doors will open in return. This isn't about being overly self-sacrificing. It's about living from a place of internal security. Prosperous people aren't trying to protect what they have. They're focused on creating more for themselves and for others. When you empower those around you, your world expands. People remember how you made them feel. They gravitate toward your energy. And before long, you'll realize, the more you help others succeed, the more success finds its way back to you. Prosperous people don't waste energy. They don't scatter their efforts across a dozen directions hoping something sticks. Instead, everything they do from small habits to major decisions is rooted in clarity and purpose. They don't act just to stay busy, they act to create. Every step is taken with a sense of alignment, as if it's part of a larger vision. And that's exactly what it is. Because when your actions match your inner purpose, you no longer feel fragmented or overwhelmed, you feel focused. Intentionality is powerful. It brings direction to your energy and discipline to your day. Prosperous individuals wake up with a reason to move. They choose how to respond, where to invest their time, and what to say no to. They aren't distracted by noise or pulled into drama. They move differently, calm, clear, and precise because they know that every action has impact. And they want that impact to support the future they're building. Living this way doesn't mean being rigid. It means being aware of your values, aware of your goals, aware that every moment holds creative power. When you align your actions with your deeper purpose, success becomes a byproduct, not a struggle. If there's one emotional habit that prosperous people share, it's gratitude. Not as a fleeting feeling, but as a foundational mindset. Gratitude is their baseline, their lens, their way of relating to life even when things aren't perfect. They don't wait for everything to go right before feeling thankful. Instead, they train their focus on what's already working. This isn't blind optimism, it's conscious awareness, because what you focus on expands. And those who constantly acknowledge what's good tend to attract even more of it. You'll hear them say things like, "I appreciate this lesson," or "I'm thankful for where I am while I move toward where I'm going." That attitude isn't weakness, it's strength. It keeps them centered, it keeps them open, and it magnetizes more opportunities, relationships, and breakthroughs. Gratitude tunes your frequency to abundance. It silences scarcity and amplifies clarity. Prosperous individuals know this. That's why they give thanks in advance, not just for what's already come, but for what's on the way. Make no mistake, wealth is drawn to those who appreciate what they have. Not because they're settling, but because they understand that appreciation activates more. The more grateful you are, the more aligned you become with prosperity itself. There's something magnetic about truly prosperous people. When they walk into a room, something shifts. Not because of what they say, but because of the energy they bring. Their presence alone inspires clarity, confidence, and forward movement. They don't need to dominate the conversation or draw attention to themselves. In fact, many of them speak less, but what they say carries weight. Their presence creates space for others to think bigger, dream more boldly, and believe in new possibilities. Prosperous individuals carry expansion wherever they go. They uplift people simply by being in alignment with their own vision. Their clarity becomes contagious. Their calm becomes reassuring. Their success becomes a reflection of what's possible for everyone around them. This kind of presence isn't built overnight. It's the result of inner work, of integrity, focus, and self-respect practiced daily. When someone truly owns their worth, their energy silently gives others permission to do the same. Becoming that kind of person doesn't require fame or fortune. It requires authenticity, it requires depth, and it requires intention. When your presence speaks louder than your words, you're no longer trying to prove anything. You simply become a living example of what's possible. You'll rarely hear a truly prosperous person complaining. Not because everything in their life is perfect, but because they understand the power of their words. They know that speaking constantly about problems, limitations, or what's missing only reinforces more of the same. Prosperous people choose their language carefully. They don't use words that shrink their vision or weaken their energy. Instead, they speak from a place of growth even when things are challenging. They reframe setbacks as lessons. They talk about solutions, not just problems. And they express faith in the outcome, even when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. It's not denial, it's discipline. They've trained themselves to speak the language of abundance because they know words shape reality. They also avoid gossip, blame, and victimhood, not out of superiority, but because those habits drain power. Complaining keeps you stuck in the same story. Gratitude and focused intention move you forward. When you stop talking about what you don't want, you make room for what you do. And when you discipline your words, your mind follows. Before long, you're not just sounding prosperous, you're becoming it. Speak from the life you're creating, not the one you're trying to escape. For the truly prosperous, wealth isn't something they chase, it's something they allow. They see money not as a final destination, but as a natural result of alignment, value, and service. To them, wealth is a current, something that flows through them, not just to them. This mindset removes the pressure to get rich. Instead, their focus is on contribution, creativity, and integrity. They understand that when you live in harmony with your purpose, wealth becomes a byproduct, not a burden. They don't grip tightly to money, nor do they fear its absence. They trust the rhythm of giving and receiving. They know that when they give with clarity and receive with gratitude, they remain in the flow of abundance. This is the secret. Prosperity is not about accumulation. It's about circulation, and those who flow with it never run dry. Prosperity isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you become. It's not a lucky break, a perfect plan, or a sudden windfall, it's a state of being you cultivate from the inside out. The most prosperous people didn't wait until their circumstances improved to shift their mindset. They chose to live from the energy of abundance long before the results showed up. And that choice became the cause of their success, not the effect. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't need to be rich to feel rich. When you begin thinking, acting, and moving through the world like someone who is already aligned with prosperity, you activate a powerful creative force within you. Start today. Speak differently. Think with intention. Walk into every space knowing you carry value. Let your presence communicate belief, purpose, and clarity without saying a word. This is how true wealth is created, from the inside, in quiet moments, through consistent decisions, with unwavering faith. You are not trying to become prosperous someday. You are choosing to live as prosperity now. Because the moment you become it, the world begins to respond accordingly. If you consider that this content has enriched you and has the potential to make you prosper even more, leave your like. It is important to us. Subscribe, activate the notification bell, and share it with a friend. Thank you.